Hello everyone, I'm Sathya M, and I'm happy to give my 3 minutes video presentation about my PhD thesis on the topic of NEP 2020 adoption practice and value creation among higher education institutions in Tamil Nadu under the guidance of Dr. Alamelu from SASTRA University. To introduce my research, NEP 2020 is a 32 years after a reform in our educational institution, which focus on holistic vision, quality, and academic transformation from policy to practice. And higher education institution in India is playing a vital role in education sector, which focus on expansion and massive of higher education, focus on graduate employability and industry collaboration, quality assurance and institutional autonomy and governance. In the study, focus on Tamil Nadu HDIs and how it creates a value creation and individual, which includes faculty and student, institutional growth, and industry collaboration. The problem statement is identified NEP 2020 is a major reforms in HEI, but translating policy intent to effective institutional practice remains challenging. NEP 2020 aims to bring major changes in higher education institution, but how well these changes are implemented differ across states and institutions. Based on the problem statement, the intensive literature review has been taken place using a PRISMA model, where 1,250 papers were analyzed and only 193 papers were taken for the study. And this study also backgrounded with a theoretical framework which is aligned with the variable identified from the literature review. Research gap identified through literature review are policy implementation gap, contextual analysis gap, empirical validation gap, multi-level gap, methodological gap, and process gap. To fill the gap, the research is taken into a research question of 5 questions, and with the 5 research objectives starting from identifying the key factor of NEP 2020 adoption to validating and proposing an integrated NEP value creation model for the HA institutions. This is model which includes NEP initiatives, practices, and how it creates a value creation through profile variant. Scope of the study influencing NEP readiness, institutional resources, and supportive ecosystem on NEP aligned practices, resulting in value creation outcome. Sequential multi-stage mixed method design is employed, beginning with DMATL mixed method FSQZ analysis. It's a quality quantitative analysis. Novelty of the study is a first empirical model-driven investigation, NEP value creation framework systematically linking NEP initiativeness and adaptive practices and value creation outcome. Multi-stage analytical approach, integrated DMATL and MICMAC for casual structuring, PLSM, hypothesis testing, and mediation, case process model, and FSPCA for configuration validation. This is the research methodology which is used for the study. And limitation and delimitation is cross-sectional early implementation design, multi-method calibrant judgment, regional scope and sample and respondent scope is for identified as a delimitation. And data analysis used with the 20 expert validation and based on the DMATL study was taken place. And after DMATL, MICMAC study is used to identify the driving variable, dependent variable, and linkage variable. And this is a descriptive profile variables analysis, which includes in NIRF ranking, NAC, and NEP implementation. Faculty strength has been taken into descriptive analysis for the profile variable. Data integration and aggregation procedure has taken place to convert all the data into 24 universities analysis. This is actually mediating role of NEP practices, and this identify that the positive significant detect is base model 58 is used to identify different profile variables, which include base profile, median profile, and high profile. An FSTCA calibrant model is used to identify how different combinations of the value variables is giving a result to TI. Key findings is individual level is student benefit most from skill oriented and digital practices. Higher digital practices engagement correspondent with the higher value creation scores. Institutional level, institutional growth is conditional on practice implementation and institutional maturity together, not initiative alone, which is why moderating mediation is needed. Industry level findings, and this is a individual level suggestion given. Micro credential project based assessment will help the skill enhancement for the students, as well as credit bank advisory and career counselor is needed. For institutional level, outcome dashboard, practice benchmarking, joint task forces, and cross-department council helps the institutional growth. For industry level, formal MOUs, co-designing syllabus, joint R&D, and sponsored internship helps the better industry academia collaboration. And this is a table indicates the objective, hypothesis, tool finding, and solution mapping. This is a variable-based finding solution mapping. And the conclusion is the use of BMAP and MICMAP realism case model is validated framework through both linear and quantitative analysis approach.